Well, hi everybody, back again. I've been dropping some hints and mentioning that I've been made some changes to the minivan arrangement while I was up in Wyoming for Christmas, and my son was able to help me out with that. We got it in the garage, and that has made a big difference for me. Basically, the basics are the same. There's just three things I changed that are significant, and they work to make things a little more smooth and a little more comfortable for me. So I'll give you a quick review of those. Like I said, the basic arrangement, it stays the same, but here's the three main things that I rearranged. Okay, so the bed is still on the driver's side, behind the driver's seat. That just seems to be the best place to put that. I don't use the slider door on that side very often, in part because it's a little bit quirky, and the one on the passenger side is more reliable. So that's one reason. But beyond that, it just works out. That seems like that's the best arrangement for me. I did widen it up. It was at one point a mere 21 inches wide, which gave me a little more space in the van, but boy was it narrow. My arm would fall off it all night long. So this one is 24 inches wide. It's a full 6 feet long, or 6 feet and 2 inches, I believe it is. I think we went with 6'2" or 6'3". I think 6'2". And because I'm 5'11", so we added a few inches to make extra room. And it's 12 inches high, which is a little bit short on storage underneath, but it actually allows me to sit in it, to sit on it and not hit my head too much, at least if I sit towards the center. If I lean back, I hit my head because, as you can see, this roof is curved, and it's actually lower on the sides, all the way around, all four sides, the front, and both left, right, front, and back, than it is in the middle. Okay, and continuing on, the kitchen is back where it started. This is a 4-foot kitchen counter by, I think it's 12 or 15 inches deep, might be 15, about 1.5 feet tall. We built this, my son and I built this last spring, so you may have seen the video about that. Basically, right now I've got, some things stored on it in boxes. This is all produce in the front, and the back is like dishes and things. These are not screwed down yet. I probably will do that once I'm sure on the arrangement. The back one right now is just resting on a piece of non-slip shelf liner that actually keeps it from sliding around during normal driving. But not, probably wouldn't keep it there if I crashed or something like that, obviously. Underneath the counter is basically I have all food stored except for some cosmetic toiletry things on the end, but the rest of it is just food storage. And then again, behind the kitchen counter, I have some produce stored there on the walls, and this is the lovely spice rack that my friend Greg made for me. That's made out of mahogany, and so I've been able to mount that and carry my spices there. That's really convenient as well. The nice thing with this setup is I can cook inside or I can cook outside depending on the weather. So that really gives me a lot of flexibility, so I'm happy about that. The really big change I made in terms of impact was turning the passenger seat around, the front passenger seat around. I procrastinated about doing that for a couple of reasons. One, occasionally I do give someone a ride, or have somebody ride with me, and that, makes that difficult, of course, if you don't have a seat for them. But I work in the van and everything, and this just really opens things up for me in a big way, having this turned around. I was not able to find a swivel base, and that was another concern. I thought it would be difficult to... It looked, when I looked underneath the seat, like the bolts were not going to line up. So I waited till I was up at my son's place in Wyoming, and we were fully prepared to drill some new holes and or do some fabrication. He's got a welder. But as it turns out, the holes all lined up. So we just unbolted the 4 bolts and, picked it up, turned it around, dropped it back in place, and it was good to go. It's a little bit tight on the top. My head does tend to hit if I don't sit just right, so that's a little bit annoying, but small price to pay because it gives me a lot more room. Now, the nice thing with this is it really opens the van up visually. It just makes it look so much more open. And but beyond that, it gives me more leg room, makes it easier to for me to work where I sit in this front seat. So when I'm sitting in this seat, you know, I got plenty of leg room. I can stretch all the way out, and no problem. And you'll notice the other thing I did here, I installed my Mr. Heater Portable Buddy on the end of the kitchen shelf, and that is installed there. They come with screw holes in the back of the thing that you can mount it on screws, and that is what I did. That has been I have not had a chance to use it yet. I've only used this heater a few times when I was up in Utah. When I got it, haven't had a chance to use it down here in Arizona because it's been just too hot. And I installed this while I was in Wyoming, but you know, it was so cold up there that I was not even staying in the van. I was staying in houses, and I drove straight through till I got to somewhere warm. Actually, the Arizona state line coming back south. So if it ever gets cold in the desert again, I'll be sure to try this out and let you know how it works. But in theory, you know, I should be able to sit here and work and still have the heater running and keep my feet warm. And it's also nice and close, so I can just reach up and turn it on and off as needed, which is, you know, you have to do with these because they put out so much heat that it's overkill. But I wanted to get that done because I mean, just a sleeping bag is plenty adequate for you know, staying warm at night. But you know, the morning and evening when it's cool, when it's cooler weather, you know, it's actually rather difficult to keep my fingers thawed out so I can work. And I actually did apparently get down, you know, around freezing or a little below freezing a few nights while I was in Wyoming, so I wasn't here to see it. So anyway, there you go. That's the updates I made on here. You know, the minivan is, I get asked a lot of time about minivans. It is functional. It's great for stealth. It's great for fuel efficiency. I averaged 26.5 miles a gallon on my last trip to Wyoming and back just recently. It's great for stealth. If I go to Walmart, there's 3 or 4 or 5 of these blue minivans in the parking lot all the time, no matter what Walmart I go to. So you're basically invisible as long as you don't do anything to attract attention to yourself. So that's great. As far as living in it, you know, if you're just looking for a bedroom, they're probably adequate. It is just a little bit small, I find, if you need to cook in here and work in here and everything else in here. It's doable. You can do it, but I would like to see something just a little bit bigger. But I've been doing it for a year now, make it do. So it's you know, it's definitely possible. And in your needs, I think the key is to be honest about your needs and what you need for stuff to carry and how much space you need around and what you plan on doing in the van. If you're only cooking outside, for example, that makes it easier than if you're trying to cook inside, like I do sometimes. So, you know, that's where I'm at on this. You can make it work in a minivan if you want the space. If you feel like you need the space, then you know maybe you want to look at something a little bigger. But in the meantime, this is about the best arrangement I can come up with for this van, and you know, it's working pretty well for me. It is definitely getting me by. I hope you enjoyed this quick update on the van and the arrangement, how things are working for me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.